Okay, one of the questions that I get asked quite often is what to bring with you to, for example, a stationary cafe, journaling with friends, on shorter trips or on a longer vacation. And in this video I want to share some tips and tricks that can help you decide in which journal supplies to bring to these occasions. For when you go journaling outside the coziness of your own little corner or desk or wherever you journal normally. I also want to share what I bring to our holiday. We'll be leaving the day after tomorrow for 2 weeks to Italy, and I packed my bag already so I can share this with you. But I also want to share some general tips or questions that can help you decide in what you want to bring from your supplies. Okay, tip number 1 is ask yourself the question, what is the occasion of where you will be journaling? Is it, for example, on a stationary cafe that's just one day, or journaling with a friend? Or is it for a longer period of time? That can help you in deciding what to bring and what not to bring. Although I must say, in what's in my bag now for the 2 weeks of holiday that we'll be having is not so much different in what I brought to the stationary cafe a few weeks ago. But yeah, this question can help you to decide in what you want to bring from your journal supplies. And another question you can ask yourself is, what do I want to make in this period of time or for this day? For example, to a stationary cafe I'd like to pick a theme, for example with journaling with friends, stationery, you know, it's mostly organized by Café Analog, so I bring also Café Analog stamp, so I can also stamp that in the page. Or for example these type of stamps like good memories are made around the table, or stationary journey with a little list. These are stamps that I like to bring to these occasions, and yeah, that I like to put in a spread that I made from the day. Because most of the time what I do is create a spread about the day that is happening that day. So for example the stationary cafe or the day that I'm journaling with a friend. For example, sometimes I also meet a friend and she's all into Japanese stationery and Japan and everything, and then sometimes I also like to make more Japan themed spread, and you know, it reminds me of her, so I like to put some Japanese style things in that. But when I go for a holiday, then I take, for example, stamps with travel, or you know, about traveling, exploring the world, like these kind of things. And I have some basic things that I always bring that I will share with you later. Tip number 2 is ask yourself the question in how much time do you even have for journaling? For example, last year we went to, I think, 4 days to London for a city trip. And I brought quite a bit of stationery, not too much, because I was already thinking like I might not have too much time, but I ended up not journaling at all. You know, we were all the day in the city and exploring stuff and enjoying our time together, and when we got back in the hotel in the evening, my mind was just so full with all the experience from all the day that I didn't have the capacity anymore for journaling or processing all of that. I just wanted to relax, read a book or chat with my husband, and that. So that's also a question you can ask yourself, like, do you even have the time or space for journaling? This year we went to Edinburgh for a few days and I didn't bring anything at all. And I must say it felt really naked to go without any journal or pen or whatsoever. But yeah, I also didn't end up missing it. So yeah, that's a question you can ask yourself, like, are you even able to journal at all? And for now we will be going for 2 weeks to Italy, and I know I won't be journaling every day because, you know, we will go visit places, and when in the evening when we come back, then often it's late and we bring our son to bed, and then often we also sleep or we just sit and drink something together. And then there's also not really time for journaling, and I also don't want to force myself to journal. So in that way I'm also really selective in what I bring and what I won't bring, because also the time that I can journal is, I think, limited, even despite we will be going for 2 weeks. So that's a good question you can also ask yourself. Tip number 3, it is a bit like in line with the last tip, is less is more. That's at least what I learned over the years. I used to bring way too much stationery with me on my trips and ended up using almost nothing of it. For example, to a stationary cafe, really only bring what you need to make one spread in that day, or maybe a couple of spreads if you're a fast journaler. I'm a bit like a slow journaler, but some people, they make a spread in just seconds. But just bring stationery for that spread. I also used to think like, yeah, but I have this tape, maybe someone likes it, or I have this stamp, maybe someone wants to use it. But what my experience is that most of the people, they just use their own stuff and they're not really using other people's tapes or stamps or whatsoever. So just bring stuff that you want to bring for yourself, and yeah, that's most of the time really enough. And also before I could be a bit afraid, like what if I miss something? I bet I can take more and not use it instead of leaving it at home and missing it. But even if you miss it, it's not end of the world. And it might help to say this to yourself, like if I leave this at home and I will be missing it, it won't be the end of the world, because I probably have a ton of other stamps and tapes and everything that I will bring with me. Plus, if you go, for example, to a trip or holiday or whatsoever, you might also use the stuff that you find there. For example, receipts or little booklets from things you will be doing, like touristic things, that you can also use in your spread. So, you know, you might also use other things that you use normally. So be really selective and don't be afraid to miss anything when you're going on holiday. And after this fourth tip, let's go to my journal bag and what I will bring with me on our holiday to Italy for 2 weeks. And it's this bag. It might look maybe a bit big in camera, but it's actually not that big. And what I said to myself is I can only bring this bag. This is the size, and whatever fits in here I can bring, and that's just it. And this bag I also brought with me on my last stationery cafe. Because when you go to a stationery cafe or journaling in a cafe or with friends, the space is really limited that you have. You don't have like space to spread out all your stuff and just relax journaling and, you know, take all the space you want. The space is often really small, so having a small bag is really, really handy. I used to have a bigger bag and more stuff, and you know, you always end up holding stuff in your lap or just putting stuff around or put it inside and out of your bag, and it's just unhandy. Just keep it as compact as possible. That's at least my tip on this. One little extra tip. So let's check what's inside this bag. Of course you need to bring always the basics, and that's a journal and a pen. To write about your experiences or your day or whatever you want to write about. Although I forgot one time my journal when I went journaling with friends, and I just ended up using a paper from someone. But yeah, a journal is quite of the basic thing. So I brought, of course, my journal, and it's quite thick despite I didn't do anything in it yet. But I will show you why, because I put in a lot of stuff already. And at first I have this canvas thing in which I can put, for example, like notes or like receipts or whatever I collect during our trip if I don't have time to journal about it yet. I have an empty insert, of course, to make my spreads and tell about the days we have. And I have this sticker release paper insert in which I put stickers already. That also helps saving a lot of space to put the stickers here. And I have this, I don't know what it's called. It's also from Traveler's Notebook, but it's actually made for keeping cards. But I ripped these apart and I put just pet tapes inside, which also saves a lot of space. Because if you have them on a roll, it's like a huge chunk of pet tape, and you also don't use like 10 loops, which are mostly on the pet tapes. But I just take one loop and just put it inside. And yeah, I have mostly here the girl stickers and also some windows and everything, but this is what inside. And I also have some stickers, for example these from the latest stationery box from Café Analog, which I really like, or like these stickers that I got recently, which I also really like. These are almost taking no space at all, so I just added them here, and yeah, that's it. And of course something to write on. I really like to draw lines to write on, and I use this for it. And it's also handy when your insert gets a bit more chunky, or you know, if you want something to stamp on, it helps. So this I also bring. And that's it. This is my journal with everything inside, and of course a clip. It's also always handy to keep your pages open. Then another quite essential thing is the pens. And some of you might think like, why don't you just bring one pen? It's more than enough. But I'm really particular with my pens. I have sometimes really a mood to write with a certain pen, so I just bring my favorite pens with me. And these are right now my favorites. This I find such a lovely writer. It's Pilot Capless, and I really love how it writes. And of course a Sailor Pro gear, my Platinum and my 2 Kawekos. I had to bring of course my terrazzo because you know this pen is also inspired on the Italian terrazzos, so I had to bring this with me of course. I find it so fitting. And in here I have another pen, one from JR from Esterbrook, and I have a mechanical pencil. So that's it. I didn't use all the slots, but yeah, I think this is what I will use on our holiday. And yeah, I don't want to bring unnecessary stuff. Maybe when I would go, we will go with car, so you know the space is not that limited and the weight doesn't really matter. But if I would go with plane, I would maybe bring like 1 or 2 pens, you know, to save up a bit like space and kilos and stuff. Then a tool case, which is also quite handy. And in here, this is from Yuruliku. Ooh, you write it like this. And in this I have all my tools. I have another mechanical pencil with a thinner lead inside. I have a ruler, little clip, scissors of course, they are really handy. And in here I must take care that it doesn't all fall out. Eraser, stamping pads, some little glue pen, my tweezers, glue, and another dot liner glue. So that's inside this one. I really love this pouch, by the way. It is so handy. I always bring it with me to wherever I go and I just throw everything inside, like scissors, glues, whatever. And it just keeps everything together and I know exactly where it is, and I find this one really, really handy. And it also looks so nice, which is also really good, of course. And the next thing that's in my bag is this printer. This one is the Canon Selphy Square. I will also link everything I brought with me. Maybe not everything, but the most essential things in the description below this video. But this is the Canon Selphy Square and I really love this printer. It's not the lightest, it's not the smallest, but I love the quality of the photos this printer gives. I also had the Canon Zoe Mini before, which gives a bit also more smaller and compact photos, but I just love this one and I like to use this one. But if you're concerned about weight and space, then maybe the Zoe Mini, Canon Zoe Mini or the HP Sprocket might be more fitting for you. But yeah, this is my printer and I really love this one. And if you're searching for a compact printer, I can highly recommend this one. Then some storage tip, and that's this little folder. This one is from Upsend Studio, but I'm sure there are also other things that can help you to create this also. And it's like this little booklet with these plastic cards, and I put tons of washi tapes on it. And I just put like a few rolls, like maybe 5-10 times around the card. And like this I can bring like a ton of washi tapes with me. Last time I went on holiday, like last year when we went to Italy, I used this one also a lot, this small one, so I made sure I brought a lot from this one. So yeah, that's really handy, like find something to put your washi tapes on so you don't need to bring all the rolls. This is really handy. Then I have a small Toyo steel box. This is the... I don't know what this is, but I will put it in the description below this video. I think the T152, but I'm not 100% sure. And in this I put like small stamps. These stamps I use really often. I made a selection with like little words like journey, favorite, destination, holiday. Of course my blind stamps that I use really often to fill up some blanks of my pages. These little flowers I thought were really cute, and these ones from Chiara, they're also really, really cute and also so fitting for the holiday vibe, I think. So these are my small stamps. They are all holiday, travel, cozy moments related. For example, those days, those moments, as the year passed, the memory remains. These things I really love to put in my spreads. And also good food, good mood. It's also important, because we are going to Italy. I guess we will eat a lot of nice stuff. So I thought this stamp was also really fitting for that. And this one, I also always love this style of stamp, and this one says sea. We will be close to the sea, we will go to near Livorno, and we will also go to the sea, and I thought this is really nice also to bring with me. So that's about this tin. And this is a larger tin, also from Toyo Steel. I really love these tins to bring around. They are so handy to keep stuff together. And in this I have some larger stamps and also my stamping inks. I made a selection of these inks, and this is what I will bring. These are from Breezy Studio. They were in the Café Analog website recently. And I just love these inks. I love the colors, I love how soft they are. And most colors I use are a bit like light blue, greenish, brownish for my travel spreads. That's at least my experience for over the years. But maybe you use some other colors. I mean, that's good to think also about, like what colors do I like to use, which stamping ink do I use quite often, because I have quite a bit of stamping ink and I can't bring everything, obviously. And here I have some more stamps, like for example with feeling, or this of course, because we will go by car. And I think this stamp is so cute. This is from Eileen Tai. I think it's also so fitting for the theme. Little birds of course, which I also really like always. The time is now. This stamp really reminds me of slowing down, just enjoying the moment, which is really necessary for both of us, for both my husband and me, and for our son also of course. Just to calm down, relax, you know, take a bit distance from everything what's going around here. So this stamp is also really matching in that. And I have some, of course this one, Traveler's Journal. It's also travel related. This is Ikigai, and it means purpose. It's what gives life its meaning. And that's also, you know, I select stuff that give me the vibe that I need for this holiday. And what fits in this box, of course. And also this one I also really love. It's from Midnight Yule Travelogue. I think I found it on Cheery Letters once, but I really love this stamp. I also used it a lot last year. And of course some, you know, background stamps and stuff that I also really like, that I can just put everywhere I want. So this is inside this tin. I will put it back more decent later on, that it can close again. You saw I was able to close it before. And then last, oh no, I have these ones. These are also some little stamp things. These are from Modizy, which I really think is so nice for traveling. It's about, yeah, with the travel theme. It's also, I now see it on the back, I travel not to go anywhere, but to go. It's also really nice. So this is, I really liked. And this is also something I like to create backgrounds and stuff. So that's also nice. This one I also bring. It fitted in my bag, so I was allowed to bring it. And then, you know, now it's empty. This little folder is made by my lovely mother, and she made this with eco printing, and I'm still going to practice with her like how to do this, because I also want to learn this sorcery, what happened here on paper. Maybe some of you know eco printing. I really like the effect, it's so beautiful. But she made like this, and in this I put some pet tape snippets, but also some, you know, these little cards. It's a bit like my ephemera bag, or my ephemera folder, I must say. And that's also what some people do. Some people don't necessarily journal while on holiday, but they just collect everything, like the receipts and everything. I saw it with, I think it was on the Instagram from Café Analog itself, or maybe from Honey, the owner of Café Analog. And she was posting, she made like that accordion traveler's notebook thing, which I really think is so cute. And yeah, that's really worth to check out also. Like her format is also really nice. And she collected like receipts, little booklets, anything on a trip. And when she got home, she started journaling about it. So that's also what some people do. And that might also be a tip for you if you feel like I can't journal on holiday or I don't want to, that's also totally okay. But then, for example, you can have like a folder like this or something else, of course, like a card folder, and you know, collect your things. That's also what some people do. For example, they make like little envelopes per day in which they collect, like, for example, for a few keywords and a few snippets that they collect from that day. That's also a possibility. But in here I have my little ephemeras and stuff. So that's this. And this bag also has a space in the side, which I didn't really use, but I put my stamp chamois. And this is such a handy thing. It's something you can make wet and clean your stamps. You can also clean this one, and you see it's used quite often. But this is also really handy to bring. And when I go to a stationery cafe, I wet it at home already. And I put it in a plastic zipper bag, so then I have this on the go. So forget the baby wipes and that whole big pack of things, and this is really, really handy. I also purchased it from Café Analog, by the way. I will also link it below this video. And I also see this was still in there from the stationery cafe, but I think it's also really nice to take with me on holiday. These are also like little cards and stuff that you can easily put on your spread, and gives also a nice vintage vibe. So that's about it. This is what's inside my bag, and this is what I will take with me on holiday for 2 weeks to Italy. And I hope my tips might help you in selecting what stationery supplies to bring for yourself to whatever occasion you're going. And if you have any tips yourself, please feel free to share them in the comments below this video, so me or maybe someone else can also learn from that. Yeah, let's make it also something interactive. So please, if you have any more tips that I didn't talk about, or that you think like, oh, that's also handy to think about, please leave it in the comments below this video. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. That also helps the algorithm. And yeah, I also love to hear what you thought about my video. And yeah, for now, I wish you a lovely holiday if you're also going on holiday. And I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!